and we're gonna start from Fenerbahce and Paris. There are two teams this season that Paris haven't beat yet. Red Star, they're out, and Fenerbahce.
I thought so.
But you cannot say that, Paris didn't have any chance. Not at all. Both Fenerbahce wins came in a drama, in a thriller. Paris would have easily won both games, but sports happens. Nigel Hayes-Davis happened, so Fenerbahce won both games in March, by the way, which is important because we have some matchups with very big history of the last game. And Paris already created a Cinderella story of the season by making the playoffs. Reminder with the second lowest budget in the EuroLeague.
Breaking some traditions, Donatas. We should do the
Wade
prediction.
Baldwin,
Yeah.
Nigel Hayes-Davis, and let's say Cam Birch. These three players are the entire Paris budget.
That's crazy, man.
I try to build up the hype, how crazy the journey is, but it's not over, right?
Yeah.
Let's write down our predictions,
Let's
fellas.
see it.
That's right.
It's not over yet.
I'm not so sure if we're gonna have the same thoughts about the series, because I remember there was a reason why I stopped Augustus when he said that
Jesus Christ.
he
Augustus
will go
had a
with
stroke.
Paris until the end.
Augustus needs some help. Guys, send help to Augustus. What's happening? Me and Donatas were rational men. Whatever happened there with Augustus, we'll need to investigate.
Again,
You don't need to investigate, man.
Ritas did the same last year.
Okay.
And when he did that prediction, I was like,
Oops.
he has, I get it. I see him.
But he was wrong.
He was Wade Baldwin injury away from being right with this prediction. And I'm not surprised because when I was watching Paris, again, in both games, they had a double-digit lead in the first half. And, it's Paris. They're crazy good. And it's not a very good matchup for Fener. I thought that it's possible. But, Augustus, the floor is yours. You have to prove your point why you think that Paris will win in 4.
So, yeah. Paris in 4, I think that. And I'm going against the logic. The logic that you chose to believe in, guys, and I don't blame you. I'm not saying that your pick is correct or my pick is wrong or my pick is right, because I simply choose to believe in a good story, and even if they are against the logic sometimes. And Paris basketball is the best story in the EuroLeague. I don't know in how many years. I wrote this on Twitter a couple of days ago. Some Pau fans wrote me back saying that, but Panathinaikos winning last year by changing 11 players in the first season is a better story. And I replied no, it's not better. You have a budget of 5-6 times of what Paris has this season for player salary. So why I'm picking Paris in 4? Because I believe in good stories. I believe in, sometimes heart over height, and that's quite going to be, let's say, an emphasis in this series.
Story of the series,
yeah, because Fenerbahce has all the size, has all the height, has all the muscles in the series. But I think with the way Paris system is set up, with the way Paris play on offense, Fener will be forced to play a lot of small ball in this series. And they did that in the fourth quarter in that last game, and that actually won them the game in the fourth quarter. I think it's plus 14 in the last 10 minutes. And the Fener won just because they started doubling TJ Shorts after switching. And they managed to get the ball out of him. They managed to create a couple of turnovers and all that stuff. But I'm thinking, can you do it? When does Charas go to his small ball? Does he do that early? How can it work if you are going to double team TJ Shorts for the majority of the series? Of course, I see some flaws. Not having Mo Dola, I'm not sure if he's going to be back. I think is a huge loss for Paris, just because, everything is now on Nadir Hifi and TJ Shorts' shoulders. But Fener has more options. Paris can make them uncomfortable. I think it's going to be decided on the possession battle a lot. In 2 games, Fener had 27 possessions more than Paris. So that's a lot. But if somehow Paris can manage that, they are in a good position. and they have a solid post defense. They know what players they want to attack in Fenerbahce. And I'm thinking, when Paris makes them uncomfortable, do Fenerbahce have lineups that can play both defense and good enough offense? Because they can throw 5 guys that can defend, but can that 5 score on the other end against Paris? So I'm really looking forward to this series. I know I'm not going to be popular with this choice. I would even go on to say that I believe in this less than I believed in Ritas saying Pau in 4, Maccabi in 4 last season. But I still think Paris can make this series very uncomfortable. Guys, what do you think?
What's your response, Gytis?
My response is going to be also with a lot of weight, I think, because I leave the tactical stuff to you. You're the man when it comes to those things. I think you covered it pretty nicely. But I think there's another angle which makes the series very interesting. And for me, it's the biggest factor in the series. And it's the Fenerbahce's overwhelming advantage when it comes to experience. When you look at players, I looked up some numbers, both playoff experience, EuroLeague just experience in seasons. Paris side, you got not just a debuting team, but also many of the players were debuting this season. And you got, in fact, only 4 guys in the squad who had EuroLeague experience before they debuted this season. Those are Kivarius Hayes, Yakuba Ouattara, Maudelaw, and Dalton Holmes. You just mentioned Maudelaw not being there because of injury. Dalton Holmes is also out.
Yeah.
So that leaves 2 guys. And those 2 guys have combined for 7 seasons. Neither of them had a crucial big role in those teams that they played before, really. In Monaco and Žalgiris with Hayes and Asphalt before that. So only 7 seasons of experience. But then you look at Fenerbahce, it's literally a team full of EuroLeague veterans. You got 59 seasons combined between the 12 active players from last game, for example. So the active roster, I'm not even including Scotty Wilbeck in here. And Melly, 13 seasons, Goodrich, 9 seasons, Baldwin, Hayes, 6 each.
Head coach, by the way.
I will get to that. I will get to that as well. Games in general, games in the EuroLeague, games in the playoffs. Some of these players made the Final Four before. And now you said, Coach, this is another, I think, very major point. Because when we talk about playoff series, we often emphasize, hey, who's going to do better game by game adjustments? And you got a coach who's literally debuting as a head coach, debuting in the EuroLeague in Thiago Splitter, and he has never had to do this in his life, to do some adjustments between games. On the other side, you got a guy who's been in the EuroLeague for 10 years, 6 playoff appearances with his teams. Twice he got to the playoffs with Žalgiris, once to the Final Four with a low-budget team. So he knows how to do that. He also knows how to take a Barcelona team where you have a, not unlimited, but a very big budget. You can build a nice team for yourself and get that team, which was struggling before in the past years, 3 times in a row to the Final Four, not just to the playoffs, to the Final Four. And then last season, what he does, takes Fenerbahce that was struggling from a
underdog of the series. You didn't believe
from the
them
underdog
advancing.
Position, gets to the Final Four.
Bro, he was lucky the last season.
It was no luck. It was pure coaching.
Yeah.
Nick Kalatis taking Mike James out. Sharas making playoff adjustments, playing small ball when they needed. Nigel Hayes-Davis, Sestina, they killed Monaco playing that small ball. And it came from Šarūnas Jasikevičius.
Let me remind you that that series was decided by Nick Kalatis shooting 2 wide open threes.
Oh my God.
You like to do the if I'll do a Lithuanian reference. If my uncle didn't have balls, he was my auntie. So you're doing a lot of what if.
But
if.
are you deciding that that was what was good coaching? And I'm not saying Sharas did bad coaching, but
Sixth seed eliminated.
They won 3
seed.
games against Monaco. They won 3 games. It was not decided by 1 shot.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
won 3 games.
If you even take only the last game, that's not
it was
fair.
not a playing game.
but look how your narrative would change if Nick does not make those shots.
Look how many other narratives would change if one shot didn't go in.
We are talking about that one. We're talking about that one now.
Anyways, that narrative wouldn't change about Sharas having a lot of playoff experience.
I'm not debating that now. I'm just debating that, whatever he said. That,
Let's debate about the playoffs 21-22. It's pointless, man.
I don't know. Well, yeah.
But
now you're just doing
basically, I just wanted
I'm
to
just
Trinkier
boring.
references, man.
I wanted to conclude by saying I think experience is gonna play a huge factor, if not the biggest one in this series, and all the X's and O's are gonna reflect that.
To me, that's gonna be the story of the series. Spoiler alert: Paris will build double-digit leads, early leads. They might steal some games. Fener and Sharas will make adjustments, just as they did in the regular season games. Both times Paris had a double-digit lead in the first half. Both times Paris was in a good position, but Fenerbahce recovered and they won those games. Paris will bite, they will kick in Fenerbahce's balls. It's gonna hurt badly, but after making some adjustments, they will win. And I actually wanted to make a statement that Paris slowed down in the second half of the season, which is kind of true. Like in the first half of the season, they won 11 or 12 games. In the second, their winning record was only 7 from 18. They played one more game because of this thing that happened with Fenerbahce with the postponed game. Their numbers decreased. First 17 rounds, they were second in pace in the EuroLeague. In the second half of the season, their pace dropped to 5th place. Their defense, which was top 1 in the first 15 rounds, actually dropped to bottom 4 and 5 in the second half of the season. They won 7 of 8 games in the first 4 double game weeks, and they won only 2 of 6 in the last 6 double week games, which was in the second half of the season, which tells about the magic of Paris fading away a little bit, which tells about teams adjusting, which tells about the stamina and lack of depth that team feels with the guys being injured. And I think that is also going to be crucial for Fenerbahce, because I think that they're deeper, they have this experience to play a lot of consecutive tough games. But at the same time, when I had this mind that, they slowed down, a month ago they scored 84 points in 3 quarters in Istanbul against Fenerbahce. But scoring 84, which is, it should be some EuroLeague record. I mean, 84, it's not the NBA. But scoring 84 in first 3 quarters wasn't enough to beat Fenerbahce. And Fenerbahce, if you remember that game, they were far from being great. And they still won that game. So I also think that Fenerbahce have tools to beat Paris. And size, as you mentioned, experience, depth, size that they're gonna use in the offense. I see Carlson, Nigel Hayes-Davis, even Deshaun Pierre trying to kill Paris in the post.
I think Deshaun Pierre is going to have a huge role.
Exactly.
Like Bonzi Carlson played averaged 10 minutes against Paris in these 2 games.
But Deshaun Pierre will be important.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just comment on what you said about the second half of the season for Paris. What happened in the second part? All these teams had played Paris before, and their record, I think, reflects that some teams had better adjustments and were more accustomed to the type of game that Paris performs. Because in the first half, it just caught everyone by surprise, not just us as fans and journalists and media, all of that, but also all the EuroLeague teams. And I guess to finish off, I don't know if you have any more points. I just wanted to explain my one for Paris. I think they're actually gonna have their best chance in the first game, actually away in Turkey, because I think in that game you can't catch Fenerbahce unprepared, although I highly doubt it. But you can make some crazy, adjustment or just have a good game. And I think that's where Paris can grab one of those games at Istanbul. But I think when it comes comes to Paris, actually Fener will close out the series 3-1.
I have a quick question just to end, guys. Do you like how Fener play with Wade Baldwin this season?
It's
why?
How do they play with Wade Baldwin? You mean when he came
hype.
back? How they look now? Is that what you're asking?
Or before or after?
Because my simple answer is not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Because
No, we can finish the episode here.
We can?
Yeah,
we can.
for sure.
But that's another reserve. Is that what you call, for Fener? If Wade Baldwin steps up, which he can He is that kind of caliber player to step up in the playoffs, which he was missing. He was missing the playoffs last year. So he will be super motivated to prove doubters like you that he still belongs to the EuroLeague elite and will make this team great again.
Or he is another obstacle.
A lot of statements. Oh my gosh. We cannot finish it off like this. Actually, we can. Let's keep
can,
this in intrigue.